This is the Monday, November 6th, 2023 meeting of the City of Chattanooga Industrial Development Board. I want to go ahead and call this meeting to order. A note for the record that the meeting was properly advertised. We do have a quorum present, including one new member, Melody Shikari, representing District 8. Welcome.
Thank you.
Very happy to have you. Board members, you should have received the minutes from our October 2nd meeting in your packet, and would invite you to review those. And if there's any discussion that we need to have, let's do so.
Approved.
We have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. This time I'll recognize anyone from the public who would like to address the board. Any matter? Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Joseph Hayden on behalf of Caleb. Nice to see you all today. Had a brief note or two. Let's see. Recently, the public hearing for pilot was closed, but given that, I thought it'd be a good time to make a comment on the subject. There wasn't much presented during that moment, and so we understand at this point the city is going to engage Mark Mamontov to help with some of the other policy details, and we think this is a smart idea. Mr. Mamontov asked us the question in a recent meeting: what is the purpose of the pilot policy, and what is it there basically in effect to do? So as the public board representing the public's interests, and you're maybe even going to play a greater role in how policies are evaluated and approved, we wanted to ask you all the same question. What role should and will the IDB have in evaluating pilot projects, and what are you looking to achieve? How will you decide what projects are in the best interests of the city and the working public? And what do you think is important that the policy include? So as you contemplate these questions, we wanted to provide you with a policy memo of sorts that discusses some of the grounding policy features and principles that seemingly apply from a survey we've done of some economic development experts in the field. Some of these include the Government Finance Officers Association, the International Economic Development Council, the Brookings Institute, the World Bank Group, and several other economists and academics. Hopefully that provides you a sense of our working policy concerns at this point, and along with some possible methods and avenues the board might find relevant to final policy framework. Shifting away from an incentive systems that is often based on vested interests or anecdotal observations to one that is rooted in economic evidence is one of the recommendations we think can pay dividends for the public, no pun intended. Speaking of economic merits, we'd also just like to note that the pilot goals and end purposes imply and are basically, they're predicated on what would be Chattanooga's economic strategic vision and what's their economic strategic plan. Little, if any, of that has been articulated by the city at this point, and presumably that's based on the Chattanooga Climbs plan. So what are the strategic goals, and what are those going to be? Likewise, the Chamber's Chattanooga Climbs update also hasn't been provided. And I think there was a work session that was proposed for that, but it was postponed or canceled. So we'd like to maybe ask you about that. So We think there's genuine interest as to whether the Chamber's Climes plan properly represents the city's public economic priorities. Does the plan properly account for the city's workforce needs, infrastructure, environmental concerns, and capacities? Public investment via pilot in the last decade was mostly devoted to the recruitment of Volkswagen and its suppliers. But now is a new post-pandemic era of climate crisis, technological transformation, and global contention. Given our current economic landscape, what strategic aims does the city and chamber think best suit Chattanooga in the next 5 to 10 years? So we would, again, invite and encourage and ask for the IDB to be involved in this effort along with the city, county, and chamber. I think it would give the public confidence that its money and future is being well thought through. Thank you very much again for your consideration and for the opportunity to work with the city, county, and chamber and others to establish a policy. The Kelly administration and Jermaine in particular have been wonderful in collaborating with us and deserve great credit, taking time to listen to different viewpoints and pursue best practices and good results for Chattanooga. So with that, I'll leave you with, this is our kind of memo of sorts, and you can read through it and maybe think on that as you're anticipating a forthcoming policy in December.
Do you want to give that to me? I'll be happy to make sure it gets
Yeah,
noted. I don't see anyone from the chamber here, and I don't want to speak on their behalf. I might take exception to the comment that we didn't get a briefing from them about the strategic plan, because I think we did, and I think they've provided us with quite a bit of information about that. So I know that that is factoring into the pilot policy making that's underway. Thank you very much. Jermaine, do you mind to reiterate for us kind of what the timeline is from this point about when we're going to be looking at a final draft of those proposed policies?
Sure. So welcome to our new board member. It's good to see you. Jermaine Freeman from the Kelly administration. We are planning to do a presentation before this body at our meeting in December, and then to have a final draft for your consideration in January of 2024, during the January meeting in 2024. And so for the rest of the month of November, to Mr. Payton's point, he is correct in that we are working with Mark Mamontov to come up with a policy that will not, it will have some changes from the policy draft as presented by the chamber. And so that policy, I think, we hope to continue to collaborate with interested community groups so that when you see the presentation next month and then see the final policy that comes before you in January, we hope that it's something that you all can be proud of, and it will be something that will have been a collaborative effort between the city, the IDB, and some of our community groups.
Thank you, Jermaine. Thank you, Mr. Payton, for the comment. Anyone else from the public wishing to address the board at this time? Okay, we have two resolutions on our agenda today, one of which is a three-part resolution involving the Growing Small Business Incentive Grant Program. It looks like we have three separate pieces, $10,000 each, going to the Daily Ration LLC, the Bitter Alibi LLC, and Datably Incorporated. Mr. Freeman, do you want to present on those?
So some of you who have served on the board for a while will remember that we have done small business grants historically. It's been a while since we've done one. It has been a lot easier to process the grants, as you all will remember that we delegated some responsibility over to the Southeast Tennessee Development District at a previous meeting within the last couple of months to help us with the third-party review and processing of the grants. And then we're very fortunate to have Sarah Matson, who is the city's entrepreneurship director and who works very closely with small businesses, also providing staff support to help the Southeast Tennessee Development District. And so today we are seeing a resumption of of grants coming before you. And so this is actually one of the things that I have enjoyed working on the most since I have been working for the city is providing a grant to help some of our small businesses in our community. Oftentimes, I know that over the past several months and years, when you all have seen me, it has often been to address larger economic development projects related to TIFs and pilots. And sometimes we forget the fact that we also have the ability to really boost and uplift our small businesses as well. And so you'll remember that the Growing Small Business Incentive is an incentive that can provide up to $10,000 to an eligible small business. We define small businesses as being small businesses that have fewer than 100 employees. And in order to be eligible, the small business has to have hired at least 5 full-time employees within the previous 18 months before they apply. And then we can allow, in determining the grant award, which is based not only on the number of positions that they've created, but also it is tied to the average wages of those positions. We can also provide some financial assistance to reimburse small businesses for eligible expenditures related to capital improvements and the cost of equipment, cost of inventory, and things like that. And so today, we are fortunate because we have 3 small business recipients, although today, uniquely, we have 2 of the small businesses are actually owned by a single business owner, who has 2 separate small businesses that both qualified. And so I would like to allow Mr. Jason Bowers to come up to talk about both 2 of his restaurants, the Bitter Alibi and the Daily Ration, each of which both qualified with hiring full-time people. And I'll let Mr. Bowers share some information, and we'll go from there.
Thanks, Ryan. Morning.
All right, good morning, all. Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to, first of all, say thank you to the city and for all the help with all of this process through the grant. But I want to introduce myself, Jason Bowers. Been in Chattanooga since 2005, been a business owner for 10 years. Started, the Bitter Alibi was the first one 10 years ago, 8 years ago. Opened the Daily Ration, and then within the last year and a half, opened up Clever Ale House in Red Bank, Civil Provisions up on Signal Mountain, and then the 2 new ventures are going to be at the Chattanooga Choo Choo Gardens and Station Street with the Lost in Transit and Bad Motives. That will be old train car in there that we're redoing, and then a little place on Station Street. So if you want to go to the next slide, can I do this with this? Yeah. Oh, cool, great. Yeah, just kind of a quick backstory of how we started. In 2014, I took over just a basement of a building on Houston Street that could really only seat about 30 people. It was me and 2 other guys. We opened it in 14. Then we took over the whole building with 2 extra floors, expanding to 20 employees in 2016, growing to 40 people in Clever Ale House. We've got to 60 with this new one up on Signal. We're right at the 95. So our projections are within the next year, we'll have easily over 100 people working in the buildings, special events, and just a lot of off-site caterings and things. So it's pretty cool to see just in 10 years us to be able to kind of grow this group of people that are all passionate. I couldn't do it without this team. These are just a few people that I partner with and that work for me. I like to take people in kind of wherever they are. So it could be a first-time restaurant person. It could be somebody who's career-minded and who wants to really grow into the business. I really like partnering with kind of young entrepreneurs to be able to help them get something going for themselves, just like I was able to do through somebody. Students who just need summer work or something part-time. A lot of veterans and people who are just coming out of prison just looking for like kind of that new opportunity, something that they could be interested in. So it's really cool to be able to meet people where they're at with that. Definitely working with a lot of local partners. Chattanooga is an awesome small business town. So we try to use as much local ingredients as we can, and also things like hot sauce, breads, dry seasonings, things that people are passionate about. We like to kind of bring those into our businesses. Like I said, mentoring is a huge part of what we do. We've had easily 5 other restaurants come from employees that work for me. And I think in the next few years, we'll have a few more that are ready to go. As we grow, we have more kind of power to be able to really take on some cool opportunities. So definitely we're goal-minded to be able to kind of grow from inside out and just to do more in Chattanooga. So yeah, that's my story. I'm really excited to be able to receive these grants and be able to kind of keep growing, keeping things in Chattanooga. People always ask, like, we live in Nashville, we live in Huntsville, do you guys want to come and do something there? And I always tell them there is more opportunity. There's tons of opportunity outside of Chattanooga, but Chattanooga and surrounding areas are just so committed to caring about small business, and they're kind of an adventurous group who are willing to try something with some crazy names. I know some of you are like, what? Why would you name a restaurant this? It's cool to be able to see that people will kind of be experimental and yeah, come try things out. So appreciate the time, guys. Thank you all.
I got a question for you.
Yes, of course.
Are you going to hire any military veterans?
I do. I think I have 3 on staff right now. I don't always ask if they are or not. I kind of have to find out if they're veterans or some of them are reserve. But yeah, that's definitely something that's always important. Both my grandparents are veterans, both my brother-in-laws are, so it's always something that's good to have.
Got one more question.
Of course.
If the grant money is granted today, are you going to spend it only on the restaurants here in Chattanooga?
Yeah, that's the plan. Really, right now, the 2 in the Chattanooga Choo Choo Gardens and Station Street are the ones that definitely need the most attention, kind of in the business, but Daily Ration and the Bitter Alibi are both Chattanooga businesses.
That's all.
Thank you. Any other questions? Well, I won't be abstaining, but I will disclose that I am a fan of both of these places. So it's it's really fun to be able to do this. Jason, I am curious, what is, in terms of business growth, what are you sort of bumping up against? What's the biggest headache? Is it hiring, supplies? What's the?
Yeah, I mean, some of it is, obviously, the restaurant business tends to have a little more turnover, a little more, it can kind of be a landing place for somebody for a short time. And so finding those right people who are kind of as crazy as I am to be like, this is what I see myself doing in 10, 20 years, that can be tricky just to find the right personnel. Obviously, yeah, money's always tricky because people can make a lot more money if, you know, in different places and a little more consistency than the craziness of the restaurant. So
Fair enough. Well, as a procedural question, do we need to get a presentation on the last item and then consider these as one resolution?
I think each one of them has a separate resolution on here. So
Okay.
if you want to do that.
So shall I take,
individually, you can do that.
let's do these 2. I will, if there are no more questions, I'll be glad to hear a motion on Resolution A, authorizing the award of a growing small business incentive grant to the Daily Ration LLC in the amount of $10,000.
Motion.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
A second.
Motion's been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Resolution 5B, authorizing the award of a growing small business incentive grant to the Bitter Alibi LLC in the amount of $10,000. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Is there a second? Motion's been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Resolution 5C, authorizing the award of a growing small business incentive grant to Datably Inc. in the amount of $10,000.
Yeah, so for our next award, we have a company called Datably that specializes in data mining. What they do is for very, very, very smart people, so I'm going to let Taylor Hall explain what they do. And I think that Taylor is also joined by, Taylor is the CEO of the company, and he's also joined by his partner, Emily Hall, who's in the back there, who I believe has a business that is an entrepreneur in her own right. So, Mr. Hall, if you want to come on up.
Thank you very much. So Datably is a company that we started 3 years ago in the midst of the pandemic. My wife and I moved here from Orlando, and we met Ben Cairns, and he said Chattanooga is a great place to start a business and start a family. And so we picked up everything we had and moved here, and we have been grateful for Chattanooga ever since then. It has been truly a success here because of the city here and everything that you guys do. So thank you. We're honored to be here today. What we do, we build custom software for enterprises, especially with complex integrations. We build customer-facing mobile apps. We build portals. We do data warehousing. We do hosting and application lifecycle management. Basically, that means if you have an application on your phone and you don't know how to get it there, you don't know how to take care of it, you don't know how to host it, we take care of all of that for you. And so we are a full-service application development company right here in the heart of Chattanooga. We grew starting in 2020 with just myself doing contract work. And in 2021, in September of 2020, we joined the incubator, and that has been just an amazing success. In 2021, we grew to 6 employees, taking our revenue up to $330,000. In 2022, we grew to 10, and in 2023, this year, we've hit rapid growth and acceleration as we've been able to expand into new markets and go after new opportunities. So we're currently sitting at 18 employees and 1.1 million this year, which is a huge jump from where we were just 3 years ago. So we're super excited about those numbers. But the most exciting part about this whole thing is that in a day and age where everyone says with tech companies you have to hire remotely, we said, I don't think so. And so every single one of those employees, every single one of those developers is located right here in Chattanooga. And so we have high wage earners that are all local. Most of them come into the office every day, and it has allowed us to have intense collaboration. It's allowed us to grow together as a team. But most importantly, it allows us to take all of that income, all of that revenue is going straight out into salaries, straight out into this community. Again, what we wanted to do was plant in a community and build a community that's strong. We believe that, and it starts with the good employee, and then they build strong families, and strong families build strong communities. And so that's what we're here to do, and that's really our mission. Currently, we are at 18. Our revenue should be around 1.2 million this year. We've started with several strategic partners that are really helping to accelerate our growth this year. And really what we've done this year is plant our roots into multiple streams of income that's going to secure us for the years to come, because we're not stopping here. We want to grow well beyond this, and we want it all to be right here in Chattanooga. By year 4, we are hoping to close in, believe it or not, on the $5 million mark. And we are launching an initiative this next year, which is going to be our Chattanooga Cloud. Again, we have great companies here downtown that are all storing all their data in AWS or Azure. All of that money is leaving the city. Why can't we build our own infrastructure? We've got EPB here. We can add our own data center on top of that. We can store it here. And that's again, something that we're passionate about. How can we build a secure cloud that can enable companies here to run their data right out of Chattanooga? We are also launching our own products. So up until this point, we've been all contracts. So, work for hire, companies have an app they want to build. We want to start building our own products and growing internally ourselves. And then this next year is also a bittersweet year where we will be lovingly kicked out of the BDC to make room for more companies to come in. And so we're also going to be looking for space downtown because we want to be right here in the heart. We don't want to move out to the suburbs. We want to be in the heart of downtown Chattanooga. So those are all exciting things coming up in 2024. We're involved in several organizations locally. We support nonprofit organizations. We're part of the Scenic City Summit, which is a developer conference that happens every year, hosted by Chatec. We have multiple people that speak at that. We give to these organizations. We're also hosting ChaDev, which is a technical meetup that happens every single month. We invest into that, and we've got developers coming from all over the city. And so what that's enabling us to do is to help build it's not a movement, but it's a group of people that are able to get together and see that Chattanooga has a lot of tech to offer. And so that's what we're trying to incorporate and bring into Chattanooga so we can attract more talent right here to Chattanooga. And so that's really our goal. Again, if we are hiring locally, we are relocating people here. We've actually done that with 2 people so far, relocated great talent right here to Chattanooga. These are just a couple of our partners, and with that, I'll open up to any questions.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Do you have any military veterans working for you?
We do not at this time. We have a couple of people. We have our chief revenue officer has some ties to the military, and then my whole family is military. But we are definitely open to that.
That's all.
Anyone else?
I have a question. So, you know, you have a pretty good revenue stream. What are your plans with this grant in particular?
Yeah, so this grant is allowing us to continue to grow. We've got two primary things that we're trying to do. One, we have some badly needed operations assistance that we need to shore up so that we can stabilize as we've grown quickly, and our developers are able to develop and run on their own, but they need some operational assistance. And so part of that is helping on the operational side. And then the other part is really to go towards the cloud initiative. We need to buy servers, we need to buy infrastructure to get some of this stuff off the ground.
All right, thank you.
Great. Well, sounds like a terrific company. Did you tell us where you moved from? I'm sorry if I missed that.
Yes, we moved from Orlando, Florida.
Oh, very good. Great. Well, that's exciting. Welcome to town. We're really happy that you're here.
Thank you.
With that, if there are no other questions, Resolution C, authorizing the award of a growing small business incentive grant to Datably Inc. in the amount of $10,000. I'll hear a motion to approve.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Under other business, we have a resolution regarding a temporary crane swing easement with River City Company related to the new hotel that's going up in the AMC lot. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, so, once again, Jermaine Freeman. So this is an easement, there is, as many of you may or may not be aware, there is a multi-story Embassy Suites hotel that is under construction on the parking lot that is directly adjacent to the Majestic Movie Theater. The reason that the IDB is a party to the agreement for this easement is because the IDB is technically the owner of the movie theater property, because the movie theater property is part of a pilot lease that was granted to the River City Company, which helped in the construction of the movie theater. That pilot was issued back in 2008 during the Littlefield administration, and the starting year of the pilot, and Mr. Attorney, please correct me if I'm wrong on this, but the term of the pilot runs from 2010 to 2024, so it actually expires next year, if I'm not mistaken. But because the IDB is the owner of the Majestic Movie Theater property, because it's under a pilot, what is coming before you today is an agreement that basically allows a high-rise crane to be over the movie theater, which of course is currently IDB property. So there will be, for those of you who like cranes, there will be a crane downtown, and it will be building a very tall hotel. And we're excited to see the development of the hotel happening on that lot. And of course, this agreement basically just provides the developer air rights over the property, over the movie theater, which is under a pilot agreement. Mr. Attorney, anything that I've left out?
Yeah, just for our new folks on here, typically with a payment in lieu of tax agreement, the city actually, or this body, the Industrial Development Board, takes the ownership in that property during the time of that pilot agreement, and there is a leasehold that is back to the person that is developing the property. And we do that to make sure that they make all of their payments in lieu of taxes during that term the way that they're supposed to. And typically there is at the end of one of these agreements, it's normally for 10 years, and then there is a spin down where they start escalating back up to the full tax payments at the end of the 10-year term. And that usually occurs over a 4-year term. So that's the way that is ongoing on this document, which started back in 2010
Yes.
and goes through 2024. And as the owner of the property, then they want to make sure that the owner is at least signing off to say that it's okay to have that swinging crane going back and forth on there at the same time. And we have hold harmless and indemnity provisions in our lease agreement while that is occurring from the folks that actually got it.
Thank you, sir.
How long do we anticipate the crane being active? And can we pay to keep it going longer, just to sort of signal of?
I believe that in the agreement, the crane is set to be up through, is it the end of the year in 2024, Mr.
Believe
Chair?
so, yeah, for 1 year.
Yeah.
12 months.
Yeah.
What's the total height on the hotel? Do you know off the top of your head?
I believe it is a 7-story hotel. It's 7 to 8 stories, but I could verify that with the developer.
I was just curious. Yeah.
But that is significant. I think that if you look at, it will be directly across the street from the John Ross Building, which this body approved a pilot for the steam logistics redevelopment of the John Ross Building, which has turned into a very nice-looking office building. But the John Ross Building, I believe, is 4 or 5 stories, so this will obviously be taller than the John Ross Building, yeah.
Got a question.
Yes, sir.
Got one for city attorney here. Since it's an easement, should it go before the zoning appeals committee rather than here?
Well, y'all are I guess, the property owner right now, and that's the reason they're wanting y'all to sign off as an easement on the property. But if you were not an owner of the property, yeah, some other entity in there, but that's the purpose of y'all signing. The other concern, I guess, whenever I saw this initially, I was wanting to make sure, because it's on East 4th Street and Broad Street where it's going on here, so the concern about things swinging around over the top of all that was a little bit of a concern, but the fact that you have insurance protection by the lessee is the good part.
And it's across the street from the Children's Museum.
Yes,
there,
sir,
too.
directly across the street.
And who is the lessee, Phil?
Let's see, we've got sign-offs on here by a ton of folks on here. The current lessee on here is, there is a reference for Vision RCC LLC, Lifestyle Center, and then I thought, let's see, 329 Market, Lincoln Partners, and River City. So all of those folks are involved in this process.
So 329 Market, those are the owners of the John Ross Building.
Yes.
And so presumably the crane would be swinging over their building too. And so, and then the lessee, I believe, is Mitch Patel's group that is building the hotel. And then, Mr. Chair, just to answer your question, according to the language in the agreement, this agreement will automatically terminate without further action upon the earlier of November 30th, 2024, or at such time as the grantee completes construction and removes the crane. So
Right.
November 30th, 2024 would be the earliest that it would be removed.
Look for updates as they make more progress. Thank you for the questions. Any other questions from this board? Hearing none, I'll consider a motion on a resolution authorizing the execution of a temporary crane swing easement agreement with the River City Company with regard to the pilot agreement for the new Embassy Suites Hotel construction next to the Majestic 12 property, where construction work will begin in December 2023. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Before we adjourn, Jermaine, I did want to have you comment about our December meeting, which I understand could be a significant one if we're hearing a presentation on the final draft of the pilot policies and procedures. And is there, will this board have any business related to the One West Side TIF?
Yes.
City, county?
Yes, so our goal is to bring the final development and financing agreement between the Industrial Development Board and Urban Story Ventures, which was the applicant for the One West Side BIN TIF. That TIF's economic impact plan was approved by both the City Council and the County Commission last week. And so the final step of the process is for the development and financing agreement to come before this body. We had hoped that we would be able to get that before you during the month of November, but alas, we were not able to, and so we will definitely try to have that before you during your December meeting. But again, that TIF was approved by both the City Council and the County Commission last week, and it proposes to create significant and meaningful lasting development on the west side of our community in partnership with the county for support for a new educational facility at the old Blue Cross Blue Shield Gateway site property on West ML King Boulevard. And it also proposes to provide financial resources to the Chattanooga Housing Authority as part of their efforts in the West Side Revolves redevelopment plan, for which they are submitting a choice neighborhood grant within the next couple of months to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to sort of be the first step of pursuing the West Side Revolves plan, which is a $50 million grant. So.
I sense that you're in favor. Can you remind me, what exactly will this board be taking action on at that time?
So the development agreement is basically, you all may remember that you took action on a development and financing agreement for the North River Commerce Center, North Access Road TIF. So once it has gotten all of its approvals from the City Council and the County Commission, you all basically approved a document that basically outlines kind of the step-by-step instructions for how the development needs to occur and how the financing of the development needs to happen. And so you all will receive a similar packet of financing agreements and development agreements that will come before you for Urban Story Ventures. This is a big project, so there will be lots of good reading for you.
Yeah,
So.
thank you. And that meeting, if I understand it properly, is Monday, December the 4th. So board members, I would encourage you to keep an eye on your inbox because there should be quite a bit of material headed your way right around Thanksgiving or a little bit before. Any questions about any of that? December could be a significant meeting for us, so. Thank you, Mr. Freeman. If there are no other questions on this board, I'll be happy to hear a motion to adjourn.
A move.
Is second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned.